That will be in there. There's a couple of disclaimer items. We'll include that in their order form. That will protect the village to the extent that we can be protected, and it will also pre-establish that if for any reason we need access to that space, that the owner will be notified to remove their plaque, which they can replace as soon as the work's completed.
I would like to have this, like, whatever you want. I need it quickly.
I'm gonna give it to you right now.
If I don't, I have to postpone the project for next year.
No,
Absolutely not.
Like, give us
We're gonna take care of it tomorrow at the latest.
Do a little bit. I mean, yeah, like, let's do it the right way.
Yeah.
There's a motion.
Yeah, I had a question. Does this require digger's top? Do you have to get digger's top?
No.
Oh, okay, all right.
This is
How
not,
deep are you gonna dig?
this is 4 inches is the total excavation.
Oh,
4 inches, 2 inches below this, which is not below the sidewalks.
okay.
The walks that are in there. We're still above the bottom grade of the sidewalk.
So do we have a motion and a second?
I don't.
Second.
Wait, no. Let's see what the motion is.
Good try.
Whoever made the motion, just want to withdraw the
I don't think we
motion.
have a
I move to approve the special privilege application for historical markers within the public way by Shorewood Historical Society with residential districts, incorporating the discussion that we had today. And I would also add to retroactively grant the permit to the installation at 3934 North Ridgefield Circle.
second. Wait, didn't we say with staff approving the application
That was with all the discussion we
The
had.
language in the order.
in the order form? Okay, I have one other question. This second.
Thank you.
Okay, there's a second. Any discussion?
Second already? You can have a copy. Sorry.
Trustee Rose?
You have a third. Sorry, this is just my first time approving a special privilege without getting liability, a confirmation of liability. If for, I don't know if we're setting precedent because I don't have the history, but, I know we've been very careful in the past, so I just have a tiny bit concerned reservation that we may be setting precedent for other organizations to come and want signage, some kind of, this is setting precedent unless there's other history that I just don't know about. This is public right away. We're not covered with liability insurance. I understand. I love the program. I do not want to bog down the program. It came to us on a consent agenda without any review of liability here or terms, or when do we get notified of the residents? Is it 5 days? How do we get notified? What's our
We
agreement
won't
with
be
the
notified. There's no need to issue individual permits for all of these.
No, but
Once we do the approval tonight, the Historical Society will have the order form with the language in there we need to notify the homeowners of their responsibility. And then we will be done with the program unless one of these things shows up in the way of construction.
okay, because in the memo it says that we are going to be notified of the residents that are, the addresses. just so
That was
they're
a
there.
suggestion, I should have said that.
Don't you want to know
We
where
don't
they're
want
right?
to do that. We have to hire another clerk.
Is DPW here though? I mean, wouldn't they want to know there's something in the right of way? All right, if you want no record of where these things are.
No, we're gonna get record,
That's what I'm
and we'll get a list, and we'll attach it to the permit under the Historical Society office address.
But every year you're going to get more addresses.
That's fine.
And then you just send it in?
We'll be able to provide a spreadsheet with all that, but everybody that gets one.
No problem.
Trustee McKay?
I agree with the question about liability, but what I heard from staff is that that's covered and that the disclaimers that we'll add addresses that.
No, I think the disclaimers cover articulating the homeowner's responsibility. There is a potential liability out there, but it is very small. And the wording on the order form will not negate the existence of it.
Right. So are we setting precedent?
Well, you're always setting precedent.
Everything you do is,
Yeah.
Question is, this is,
the prize is worth the effort.
legislative determination, you have considerable discretion in what to do. Unless the next one, you were to decide would be a violation of its own interest, some party that has protected special interest, or if it's exactly the same situation, you couldn't differentiate, yes, you may be setting precedent, but you're always setting precedent. I wouldn't look at that as a reason to say no in this case, it's just a consideration.
Thank you.
Okay. Call the question. All in favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the historical society does for the village.
I hope this is a successful project for all of us.
Okay. Next item is 4K, consider special privilege application for construction of retaining wall in the public right away at residential.
This is very easy. We discussed with staff and with the applicant at committee, and the application's been revoked. They will not be constructing that retaining wall in public right away, so the committee for action.
That takes care of all of item 5.
Can I just make one comment on this issue, because it's the second issue we've had of building in the right of way and looking back at it retroactively. And in this particular case, because he didn't need to pull the permit because it was under 2 feet or whatever, I'm not sure how he would have known that he was in the right of way. And I hope that we can do some outreach and some public information through the manager's memo, even Shorewood today, to let people know what the address of the GIS is, and that, because most people, as we talked about the last time with the fence issue, most people assume that the end of the sidewalk is their property. And they don't realize that in some, but not all cases, the right of way extends into what they would think of as their property. And I can see how someone would easily make that mistake, and I wish we would do something to get the word out to the residents that they need to check this before they build something.
We've had some articles in our publications about that. The city's GIS system is right on the home page. All you gotta do is click it. And your assessor records and your tax records are gonna pop up. I meant to mention that for Bob, but anyone that's looking at buying a plaque, if they're not sure what year the house was built, it's 5 minutes to look it up and it's give you the exact date. And almost every property in the village is in that file. It's the same thing with the setbacks. You click on your lot there, this information comes up. You can zoom in, it shows you exactly where your lot lines are in relationship to the roadway improvements. So you can almost tell by looking at that where you're at in terms of the sidewalk. And if you don't like that, or you don't want to go to the village's website, go on Google Maps, and it will give you the same thing. Click on the aerial photography, and you can look it up, and you can see exactly where the right-of-way line is in relationship to the back of the curb and the back of the sidewalk.
But the average person doesn't think, the average person looks at the sidewalk and thinks that's my property.
If you don't know how to do it, call and ask. All you gotta do is call the village hall. We'll have somebody help you. We'll walk you through it, or we'll look it up and give you the information. This gentleman had a contractor working with him. Every contractor knows the first thing you do is call Digger's Hotline. The second thing you do is call the village hall or the city hall and ask what permits are required for the project that you're doing, all right? People do this stuff intentionally. It's always easier to beg for forgiveness later than it is to meet the code requirements up front. If they had called and checked in, this could have been taken care of weeks ago. The retaining wall would be built and done by now. It was a simple little thing to fix. It just, they won't follow the legal procedure.
I just wanted to add that I do outreach every year on this, because you were absolutely right, people are not aware. Every spring I put it into the village manager's memo on setbacks and where your property boundary begins, and check with us. And I put it in the Shorewood Today magazine before, and I'm always asking to add more into the resource section so I can add those types of things in there. But it is also on the website an explanation.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much more outreach should be done, but usually I do it in the spring before projects start.
It's nice to know what the baseline is.
Trustee Lopes.
In committee though, I just want to clarify something. In committee, in this instance, we did ask that question and you mentioned they didn't have a survey. There isn't a survey that exists, so I don't know that they could have clicked on that. If they had clicked on that link, they would have been.
Surveys are not on our GIS, but they would have seen the right-of-way line and they would have gotten an idea that it's not up to the sidewalk line.
Okay, so you can see the right-of-way line. I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, it's not absolutely exact. If you would try to measure it on GIS, it will be a little bit off, but you will see it's not along that distance.
Okay, so it's good enough for them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to click on the link and, okay, all right.
Yeah, it's all there.
Okay, next item on the agenda is item 6. Public hearing, proposed ordinance 2080, zoning amendment in the 535-9 site restrictions for porches, patios within zoning setbacks. What I'll do is I'll have you, Erica, give a little report, and then I'll open the public hearing and see if anybody wants to comment on it.
Sure.
And then after that, we'll see if any trustees want to comment on it.
This is a staff proposed amendment to the zoning. I took it to the plan commission back in May, and porches really aren't per se the crux of this. It was just the patio, so I'm not sure how that got into on the agenda that way.
It should say what?
Porches shouldn't really be in the consideration
Okay.
because the crux of this is about patios. In May, I went to the plan commission. Years of working with village manager Chris Schwartz, he would always remind me that if there's items that go to the Board of Appeals for variances, you should start looking at the code to see if it's necessary. So that's what prompted this. Our inspectors keep observing newly installed patios that are built within the zoning setback. And our R5 and R6 residential districts, your 1 and 2 family districts, which is 90% of our residential area of the village, they have 3-foot zoning setbacks. And a patio is considered a structure. I've argued with our previous attorney, village attorney Ray Pollan about that. He doesn't care if it's paved or not, it is a structure. Structures are not allowed in the zoning setbacks. So I took this to them and I said, hey, what are the purpose of these setbacks, right? Air movements, sight lines, accessibility, things like that. And an at-grade patio or on-grade patio does not do anything to change that. There's no adverse impact onto your neighbors or the neighborhood. So that's where this came from. So we had a really good discussion at the Plan Commission. I'm sure Trustee Maher or President Johnson can share some of that with you. But I just want to go through a few of the points here. So I say in my memo, what it doesn't do. It doesn't restrict access. I'm not repeating that. But I'm targeting the R5 and R6 districts because those are your typical 40-foot wide lots, right? I did not include the R1 through R4. That's your lake dry, kind of odd-shaped lots, bigger setbacks. I did not include above R6, which is your multifamily district. It's just Wilson Drive is your above R6 residential districts. Just trying to think of other reasons that supported this. The first time I proposed it was to say paver patios are not allowed because anyone could just move a paver, pick it up and move it. But through the discussion with the Plan Commission, they said it should be all on grade, included in this that could go up to the property boundary. On page 2 of my memorandum, I quickly summarized what the changes were, and I gave you a marked up code language. I'd really like to see that, and then I gave you the ordinance. So I took this opportunity to change the definition of decks and porches. So maybe that's why porches was in the agenda, worded in the agenda that way. And these changes actually came from a little sidestep here from an ad hoc residential design lot guidelines committee that I've been working with for over a year. We don't have residential design guidelines right now, we only have commercial. So I have a pretty good darn draft for the next planner to finish up the last stage of it. But those definition changes came from them, went to the design review board. We talked about it 3 times already, so they are good. The other changes, which are in the zoning section 535-9, which is under site restrictions. The first one is that, I don't know if you want to refer to the markup version, but 9F2, it just clarifies where decks are prohibited. They're not in the front yard and they cannot be in the street side yard, so that's a clarification. Item 3C, there was actually a code error that one of the plan commissioners pointed out that it was saying that you can't have a patio within 3 feet of the parcel boundary, so it went the opposite way. And then 3E, on-grade patios may not exceed 6 inches above grade. I felt that was important because someone could argue a patio is a foot up off the grass and that, that's not